Um, so if you're watching after the live, probably gonna fast forward a little bit until we get into all the good stuff. But we'll be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. But you know what? I don't think I was live. I think twice today already, and I did not mention that there's an incredible pay per view, the first ever Dungeon Super Series. Um, it's on this channel, Stone TV. It's under memberships. I'd highly recommend checking it out. Um, but yeah, just gonna wait a little bit, let some more people hop on before we start diving into all the good stuff. Um, but earlier today we did the pre-lift live in the morning. We did a medium lift. It was we started off with some bench press, then did some like JM skull crushers kind of thing. Did some internal rotations, some pec. I call them pec flies, internal rotations. Did some isometric side pressure. It's a little tricky. It's very simple to set up, but it's a little tricky to explain. So if you want to see what that is, definitely watch the medium lift live. That was the last. Actually, it might be. I think I looked at it a little while ago. It said processing, so it might still be. It might not be watchable yet. Maybe it's still loading. Um, then we finished off with some triceps on the table. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. After this, we're gonna do a recovery lift. Um, Brian is gonna come over around 6, so that's in. Let's see how much time we got. So we got about, depending if he shows up early or not, we got like 45 minutes probably, maybe 40 minutes. Um, but yeah, it should be good. So today's recovery lift is gonna be some arm wrestling stuff, some full body stuff. Um, pronation, some wrist flexion. Might do some core work and some legs and stuff like that. Oh, speaking of them, there's Brian. What's up, Brian? We should what time you getting here? 6, or you think you'll be here early? Um, but yeah, if you haven't seen the recovery lift, if you haven't seen any of the lives, it's just the goal of a recovery lift is to the main goal is to feel better after the lift than you do when you walk in. Uh, all right, cool. Brian says he'll be here right around 6. Uh, let's see. The name is let's call him B for short. He's got a little face. I don't know what that face means, but I'll tell you what, man. If you like arm wrestling, you pick the right spot. C Vega says hi. What's up, C? Same thing. If you like arm wrestling, you pick the right spot. We're talking about arm wrestling, maybe even some powerlifting stuff. I used to be a powerlifter before I was an arm wrestler. But we're just, hanging out until Brian and maybe Sayla comes over for a recovery lift. If anyone else is listening and in the area, you're more than welcome to join. A nice recovery lift. Let's see. If you guys have any, if you're new to arm wrestling, if you maybe this is your first time hearing it, you didn't know it was a sport, maybe you got some questions, so feel free to ask some questions. Arm wrestling stuff. I'm sure most people know what arm wrestling is, but I'm sure a lot of people don't know that it's an actual sport with, actual rules and stuff. And there's actual fans. People actually there's people out there that actually enjoy arm wrestling. um, let's see. Let's see. I know the East versus West is coming up. If you're new to arm wrestling, it's a big arm wrestling competition. The match I'm most curious about is Jerry Vitale. I know if you've watched before, I know if you've we've talked about it, but I'm pretty curious about that match. Have you guys' opinions stayed the same, or has anything changed? Fishing Patriot, what's up, man? He says, "Do you have your next match set?" So I'm not locked in, but there is. I will find out in probably Sunday or Monday when that match will be, and it's looking like December. It's looking like December, and I can't tell you right now, but I think when you hear the match, I think you'll be pretty excited. It's going to be a very interesting match. What's up, Salis? She says, waiting for Brian to get ready. Then we're heading over. All right, very nice, very nice. Because otherwise, if you missed it, you missed practice. If you missed the lifting, you're off the team. That's I didn't make the rules, but those rules are rules. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to be a good recovery lift. So Fishing Patriot says, if I guess the name, will you nod your head? Haha. I don't know. Maybe. There's like a 20-second delay, so I might have moved in the future, so be careful. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely. If you're more than welcome to guess, but I don't know if I'll if you'll be able to I don't know if I'll be able to read my body language to be able to see it. Let's see. Sailor says, I heard the bribe goes up to 20 then. Yep. Yeah, that's the rules. Every time it doubles. So the first, 10, 20, 40, 80, 160, 320, every time it doubles and doubles. I think that's pretty fair, Now, again, I didn't make the rules. I did not make them. The rules, someone else made them. But rules are rules. Let's see. Brian says Giannis and Coach Ray put a pretty good video about the Jerry match. Oh, I didn't see that yet. Maybe we'll put that on during the recovery lift. Um, let's see. Josh, what's up, man? He says burn up your charger. So remember when I told you my phone like exploded? That's what happened to the charger. While it was charging, something happened. It got so hot that it melted. It like melted the phone. The whole entire. I had to cut the charging port out with a knife because it was just melted solid with plastic, but it still works. Surprisingly, it still works. Yeah, because the phone got so hot, I couldn't even hold on to it. You know, I tried picking it up, and I had to put it down because I couldn't hold on to it. Yeah, but have you guys' opinions? Have they changed about Jerry and Vitaly? Have they stayed the same? You know, because for some reason, uh, you know, when it was first announced, I was super nervous. Now I'm starting to feel, as it's getting closer, I'm starting to feel more confident in Jerry. So I think that's a good thing, you know. Jerry, I mean, I haven't seen him in a while, but I've seen him on the video. He looks in good shape. You know, he looks big. He looks strong. Um, it looks like his head's in the right place. Josh says, "I just want to see the match. Honestly, yeah, me too. Because there's a lot of what ifs in a good way. You know what I mean? Because both these guys are some of the best arm wrestlers in the world, and there's a lot of moving parts in this match, so it should be interesting. Should be interesting." So Josh says, "I want to come up and actually see and film him pull you." Yeah, man, we could definitely set something up. So I'm not sure if it's easier for you to meet at my place and then we could drive up from my place. That might be better. I mean, or it might. I don't know if it's shorter or not for you to go right there. But either way, yeah. But yeah, we could definitely set something up. I don't know if Jerry has any more training. I think he's. I think he's done with heavy hard training, if I'm not mistaken. He might have one more, maybe, but yeah, we could definitely set something up. Josh says only because of the weird way he actually flops. It's very unique, very unique. You know, yeah, it's like one of those things you gotta like feel to understand, and you still don't fully understand it. Patriot says, "How old are the videos of you pulling Jerry from the Natty Bros?" One is from summer, and then one is from maybe last year. Maybe I can't remember. Could be 6 months. Could be under. I can't remember, but one of them I was had a bald head, so that was I got less of a bald head now. Maybe 6 months, maybe. Hand controlled arm wrestling says, "How you feel, Nick? Strong or what?" Yeah, I feel pretty strong, man. Um, I've been training hard. I've been hitting 2 to 3 arm wrestling practices a week. Yeah, so I feel pretty good, you know. How about yourself? How you feeling? You feeling strong? You feeling strong too? Josh says, absolutely unique from what I've been studying. It's the only way. It's like it's like a press that comes at you, and it makes your arm, you know, like collapse into itself. You know, like an implosion. If that makes sense. But it's kind of like two things at once. You know, one thing from the arm, one thing from the hand, combined to make one move. You know, it's very unique. You know. James, what's up, man? What's up, man? We were talking about Jerry and Vitali. What do you think? Jerry, Vitali, how do you see that match going? Hand control says stronger every day. Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. That's how you want to be. You know, that's how you want things to be. Um, Stronger every day is always a good thing. Hand control says I'm rooting for Jerry, but Vitali is a fucking beast. It will be a war. Definitely true. Definitely true. I think I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are saying this too. I think if this match becomes a war, a long match, a drawn out match, you would think the odds go to Jerry. You know, the only ever long match I've ever seen him lose was to Michael Todd, and that was the match with the strap malfunction. You know. Um, yeah, it's interesting. Let's see. Brian says if it becomes a war, Jerry wins. Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. I think the longer it gets, not to say that Vitaly doesn't have good endurance. I just think you definitely do not want to get in an endurance battle with Jerry. You know, kind of thing. Uh, Laurel says, "What's up?" She says, "Nick, what's good? What's going on, Laurel? Thanks for watching." Um, let's see. Hand control says agreed, especially since Chafee did it with a press, and Jerry's press got to be better than Chafee. I mean, you would think, and plus, Jerry can do it from the start. You know what? Maybe did Dave do it from the start too, or did he transition from top roll into press? Yeah, I would say Jerry's press is a lot more meaner. If that makes sense. Let's see. Brian says Vitali's long arm will possibly be a weakness against Jerry. I would think so too. I think in this situation, a long arm might make it very challenging to, get the pin. I think in that position, if Jerry gets a bite, I think he's going to be very hard to pin. Maybe I'm wrong. One thing that I think might really be a big factor is if Vitali low hand top rolls. I think that will. I don't think that's really something you want to do against Jerry, you know, because he can kind of get that, you know, if he ends up in that press, he can kind of get, you know, he can get his shoulder on it pretty easy. He'll have his palm, you know, facing down instead of facing, you know, up, which in that press makes a huge difference. Let's see. Whoops. The comments are moving. James says that's two different Vitalis, though. Yeah, definitely true. That's definitely true. That's another big factor. Vitaly looks way stronger, you know, than I don't know how much weight he gained, but he does look bigger. I think how heavy is Vitaly? You guys know how heavy Vitaly is? Because I think Jerry's like 320, 330. Vitaly might be the same weight, just like taller. You know, he's like 6'8" or 6'9" or something. Let's see. Let me just check some of these comments real quick. James says that match was when Vitaly was working full time and couldn't dedicate fully to arm wrestling. Yeah, back when he was working as a truck driver or something like that. You know, he was trying to, you know, he was doing the old over-the-top training when he was, you know, with the pulley in the truck. But he still did pretty good when he was still working full time. Let's see. Laurel says I'm good. Just stopping by to say hi. Oh, I appreciate that. Laurel, are you a fan of arm wrestling? You're a fan of arm wrestling, or are you new to arm wrestling? Let's see. Josh says no. Jerry loves the center of the table, and he's going to keep Vitaly on the defense. That could definitely be true. That could definitely be true. I think if Jerry gets on the offensive side, I think it's a long day for anybody. You know, so I also don't think, you know, the way Levon beat Jerry, I think you have to be tremendously strong in, you know, in that certain angle to, you know, to be able to knock Jerry out kind of thing. And I'm not sure if Vitalik is going to be able to do that. You know, maybe he's going to try to do it more like Hermes with speed, you know, pop out and then in. But that longer arm is a lot more distance, you know what I mean? So it's interesting. It's very interesting. James says if Jerry gets in this position, he wins. That's all he needs. Definitely, yeah, that could definitely be the case. You know, I would like to see that because I'm rooting for Jerry. You know, Patriot says Dave always transitions too late. Well, he's probably new. You know, it's probably a newer move to him. You know, and could be lots of factors. You know, but it's only a matter of time before it gets better. Hand control says Vitelli has to block that lane off the rip or he's in trouble. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that too. I think if Jerry gets on an offensive side, he'll have to be, you know, a degree stronger, you know, to pull him back and then pin get the pin. So Josh says low hand is Vitali's move, isn't it? Question mark. Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, I think I'm almost positive he's a low hand top roller. I think I've seen him. I don't think I've seen him hook in a match, but I've seen him, in after pulls hook with people, and he looks like he has a pretty good hook and stuff. So I'm sure he's strong in all different areas, but I think um, his main move is that low hand top roll. Um, let's see. Brian says Jerry is good defensively with that press too. He can come all the way. The comments are moving. Come all the way from the losing side and get control again if he stops a guy. Yeah, it's definitely true. He's very, very sticky. And that's what I was talking before about too, about that long arm might make it a little more challenging to pin Jerry. It might not, but I would think this would be one of those situations where a super long arm might not help tremendously. Like a lot of situations, a long arm makes it super easy. It makes you have more leverage for when attacking the hand if you have a real long arm. So with Jerry, if someone's attacking the hand, it might not matter, as or you may get what you want, he may get, and it might not. He may get what he wants, you get what you want, but because of his position, it does your position doesn't really help you that much. Especially if it's a long match, Let's see. Hand Control says Vitali versus Devin. Who you got? That's after that wasn't. I can't remember who said it. Someone said it was confirmed. I'm not sure, someone said it was. But I would think Devin. I would think Devin would win. I don't think it would be easy, but yeah, I would say Devin. But I'm very interested to see that match. It should be pretty interesting. James says Vitali says he's not a low hander. He just gets forced there because his arm is so long. Yeah, I mean that could definitely be the case. Because he's so otherwise the refs can't get center. I mean, he kind of only has two options with that super long arm. He can either dump his hand like he does. What I usually see. He usually starts with his hand, dumped and his thumb high and his other option, if he wants to keep his hand high, is I would think he would have to start with his elbow back a little bit more in the pad, and he would also have to drop the angle of his radius and ulnar bones, if that makes sense, to get center, but I could be wrong. I'm trying to imagine it in my head. I think that's the way it would have to be. Oh yeah, Josh says the same thing. He can always move his elbow back. Hand Control says March, I think. Oh, very cool, very cool. And he also says, I agree. Devin is great. Oh, Devin is great. Well, he says as great as Vitali is Devin, just too rounded. Man, I must be. For some reason I'm getting all twisted. But I think I definitely get what you're saying. They're both great, but Devin just too well rounded. Um, oh, okay, here we go. As great as Vitali is, Devin is just too well rounded. Yeah, I'm usually pretty good at reading some typos because we got some people with some fat thumbs, so when they text and stuff, that you got to double text. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Italia might win the first two, but it could be interesting. Devin looks like he has a lot more. Like his offensive arm wrestling has leveled up a lot too over the years. So he may go right at him. Maybe he has a different plan. He goes right at him. You know. Let's see. Let me check the time. So it's 5:45. Brian and Sailor should be here soon for the recovery lift. So if you guys have any final questions, let me know. Um, Also, too, if there's any other matches you want to talk about. Are there any other matches from in March that? John Brzezinski and Brian Shaw, I heard, is confirmed. You know, that is very interesting. That is very interesting. Um, what do you guys think? Who do you think wins? Brian Shaw or John Brzezinski? Hand Control says, no way, that's nuts, LOL. They must have thrown a lot of cash at John, LOL. Nah, I mean, I didn't, I just heard, someone was saying in the chat this morning that those two matches were confirmed. But I think it is, and I'm excited. I'm sure John's getting paid a pretty good amount, but I'm sure also John only takes matches he wants to pull or is excited to pull. Josh says, John, yeah, I agree with you. I think John wins. I hope he wins. I mean, it's a big challenge, Hand Control says, John, he'll know how to block Brian's strength. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got to be one of the best technicians out there that ever were. And you'd have, it'd be hard to argue otherwise. But I think it's just going to come down to John's just got to be healthy, be pretty strong, and he's got to. I think he's got to go offensive. I don't think he's going to be able to be in a defensive position for a super long time. I think John is going to have one thing. I think it's going to be. I think John's pronation is going to be dominant compared to Brian's pronation. But it's just if everything else can overpower the pronation, that's the question, I would think. Patriot says, depend on how healthy John's feeling. What's that say? I am Mo's. That stands for if I'm honest, I think. If not, whoops, the comments are coming in fast. They keep on moving. If not, then John will win. Yeah, I agree with you. I think if John's healthy, John wins. Let's see. Let's see. Jay, what's up, man? Let's see. He says hi. And he says he's not even competing. He's lazy. Uh-oh. When is the next tournament? Stone, question mark. And then he says hi again. Nothing's locked in right now, but we will know Sunday or Monday. It's looking like December. Let's see. Josh says, and I absolutely hate how they use John as a stepping stone for up and comers. Just me and my feels about the GOAT. Yeah, I could definitely understand that. I could definitely understand that point of view. But I don't know if John wins. If John wins, that's gonna be really good for John, because think about all the new John Brezink fans that he'll get at, if he beats Brian, because I'm sure there's a lot of, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people out there on Brian's, his social media thing, his social media following that have never heard of John, So it could be like a reawakening for John, where it's John takes on all the strongmen of the the biggest strongman out there and beats them all up. That could be something funny, not funny, but very very fun, entertaining. Let's see. Josh says John is gonna win. Brian ain't there, but what do I know? I don't even arm wrestle. LOL. Hey man, you arm wrestled twice. Practiced. What was it? Last week, 2 weeks ago. So it could be interesting. I think you arm wrestle, and you should probably hit up Joey's tournament. That's next month. I think the 22nd in Connecticut. I always say his last name wrong, Joey Gattro. I think it's Joey Gattro. He's got a Facebook page. It's called Fistful of Dollars. It's a money tournament, so you could win some money too. Hand Control says Shaw versus Stone. It could be. It could be. It very well could be. I would definitely pull Brian if the match was offered. Could be fun. Could be fun. Let's see. Patriot says John was already looking solid when he was practicing with Brandon Allen back before his match against Brian Shaw. He was skinny looking too, but strong. Also, if I'm honest, in my opinion. Well, yeah, I definitely can. I definitely see that. He definitely. I think I saw some of that. He looked pretty good when he was pulling Brandon Allen in that practice. And remember, skinny doesn't mean weak. You could be skinny and strong. Josh says Nick definitely needs to pull Brian and Brandon Allen. Yeah, I'd definitely pull him. It'd be very interesting. Be very interesting. We kind of have to prepare for him. Similar but slightly different areas, I would think. Patriots says I wanted to see you versus Pablo. An idea on how serious his injury was? Yeah, so Pablo was one of the athletes I tried to get for the first Dungeon Super Series because I had a match on the pay-per-view probably about a month ago, probably maybe more. Um, but he ended up having that match, East versus West. I don't know if that was a match he got hurt or the one after, but I think it was a pretty good injury. I don't know what it was, but I would think it was like the labrum in the shoulder, you know, maybe the upper bicep or a pec, but it looked like a labrum or something. I think he's. I saw something on Facebook. Him and Michael Todd are having a practice, so he must at least be training one arm, or maybe he's starting to rehab it back lightly on the table. So he must be doing things right to get healthy again. Let's see. Hang Control says Nick has the strength pedigree and the arm wrestling pedigree. It would be a great to watch. Oh, I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be a good match too. I think even our styles would make a good match. It sounds like Brian and Sailor are here. So let me just read some of these comments real quick. Hank Troll says he got hurt against Rickard Bortman. Oh, Borman. Yeah, I saw that match. Yeah, it was a pretty. Definitely don't like seeing that, but that's what happens. But all right, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna hop off because we got to get ready for lift, and